Welcome to the Fantasy 40 podcast with your host, John Dabari.
I can beat the shit out of Hollywood Brown if you'd like.
Matt Walker.
Like the DK Metcalf of running back.
And Andrew Burke.
I love Hakeem Butler, actually. He's starting to grow on me.
Remember to like, rate, subscribe on Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify. Follow the guys on Twitter at the Fantasy 40. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Fantasy 40 podcast. We are back. Myself, Andrew Burke, John Dabari, and Matt Walker. And yes, you heard that right. I'm back. Andrew Burke. After the 17-month hiatus, I found a way to get back on the airwaves here with my two compadres. How's it going, fellas?
I don't know. I don't even know what to do anymore.
Walker, are you there, buddy?
Nope. Just pulled my plug.
Got
there
you.
he is.
Yeah. I mean, I got him so excited he unplugged his computer. They haven't
pulled back, edit right straight out the gate. Coach Burke is back, baby. I couldn't be more excited. John and I have fumbled through this far too many times without the direction and clarity of one Andrew Burke. We missed you, buddy.
Yeah, it's been a crazy few months. I've got to see every square cubic inch of the state of Washington, and I've had enough. So it's good to be back with you guys for sure. Combine's going on as we speak. Last night was the weightlifting championships. Saw a few studs come out. That guy from Washington at the tight end position looked pretty good.
Oh, you mean my tight end one?
Yeah.
People are getting so mad about people talking about the bench press. Some people are like, it doesn't matter, and other people are like, it does matter. Twitter is quite divided on the meaning of the bench press results.
Yeah. Our buddy Mike Yeck, he knows my affinity for Laviska Shenault, and he thought that he disappointed. And I'm pretty sure Shenault put up 17 on the combine. And I'm like, what the fuck do you want him to do? Yeah, I don't care if he hits 7 on the bench press, to be totally honest with you. Do you see what the kid does on the field?
I would like to see Odell's combine numbers if we can get those. Hey, Kevin, will you look those up? Thanks, bud. But today's show, we're going to go on a different path because obviously the rookies are – well, they're not rookies quite yet, but the incoming NFL players are in the combine. Drills are tonight, so we don't want to say anything and have it change. So we're going to address the veterans, free agents and such, team needs around the NFL. But first, to get things rolling, I posted a little poll last night, and I won't tell you guys the results yet. I just want to get your thoughts for next season in Dynasty. I said, who you got, A.J. Brown or Amari Cooper? I'll start with you first, John.
I hate Amari Cooper, so A.J. Brown.
I think that's where Walk's going to go, too. That's why I was hoping you'd say Amari, but I guess not.
Not going to be much debate on this one, fellas, because I saw your poll and voted on it, and you know damn well which way I went on that poll. Two things. I mean, is Amari Cooper a Dallas Cowboy next year, in your humble opinion? You're on mute, Burke.
That's a good question. I cannot confidently say yes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where the CBA ended or what the fucking deal is with tags and transitions and things of that nature, but I read something. There might have been a glimmer of hope that they wouldn't be able to throw it on both of them. And Dak, for sure, if they don't get a deal done, is getting the tag. But they can't let Amari walk after giving up a first-round pick for him, in my opinion. But if he goes somewhere else and has to hit reset again, then it's just – it's a new quarterback, new system type thing. I was A.J. Brown either way with the uncertainty of Amari Cooper. Concerns me, even though I am a fan.
Even with, obviously he performed well with Tannehill, but that still concerns me. I don't know. I just not sold on Tannehill being the Titans quarterback of the future, and could see that hindering Brown's production a little bit.
Well, listen, he didn't hinder it in year one. And I hear you. This team might not be the long-term solution. We're talking free agents today, and Ryan Tannehill is a free agent at present. So there's a world where he's not the Titans quarterback as early as this season. It's even been thrown about that maybe a Tom Brady could be drawn down to Tennessee with his buddy Mike Vrabel. So, it's going to be a nice topic of conversation for today. But you're right. I don't think it's going to be worse. I mean, Mariota just face planted. So if Tannehill represented a drastic upgrade, anyone else you bring in there is going to keep that A.J. Brown ship just sailing right away.
Yeah, that's a good point. Right now, the poll sits at 250 votes, and 55% of the Twitterverse has Amari Cooper, but that's pretty close.
Disgusting.
You're better than that, Twitter.
Well, let's just start with the with the quarterbacks that are free agents, and you brought up Tom Brady. Walk seems like he's going everywhere. He's going to the Raiders. He's going to the Titans. I mean, you name a team that needs a quarterback, that's where he's going. But I want to start with somebody else first. Is Old Man Rivers seems to be a done deal in Indy. John, what do you think about that?
I like that landing spot for him. I think that's pretty good for the receivers there. Not that Brissett wasn't terrible, but obviously Phillip Rivers, even in his shot-putting old man age, is definitely an upgrade. So I think it gives a little more life to Jacoby Brissett. I'm sorry, to Paris Campbell, who personally I wrote off as dead. Once Luck was gone, I said, ew. That's why people were so high on him landing there. So getting a actually usable quarterback, I think, helps that whole offense. And someone else had tweeted something out about Nyheim Hines kind of taking it, because Rivers has throughout his career thrown a lot to the running back. So Nyheim Hines could be a sneaky value now if you grab him before Rivers even lands there. So he's somebody I'm kind of throwing some feelers out on maybe now, but I'm a little scared because we don't know for sure Rivers is going there.
Hey, Walk, does this mean you sell, if he does for sure go there, does this mean you sell T.Y. Hilton? Because Rivers' arm is not even close to what it used to be.
It's a great question, but before I go any further, I have to acknowledge something that I've truly missed in your absence. It's the Andrew Burke bait and switch, where you walk down a line of asking one question where I'm like, okay, we're going to talk about Tom Brady, and then you pivot, and you go full 90 degree on us, and you're like, let's talk about Phillip Rivers and the Colts. I love it. I missed it. I'm happy to have it back. I thought you were going to sell Keenan Allen, to be totally honest with you. Because he's lived in what Phil Rivers has been able to do for the last, 5 years. And Allen's a great receiver, but who knows what that's going to look like without Phil Rivers peppering him with targets. I still think Rivers' deep ball is decent enough. He did hit Mike Williams a few times. The problem with evaluating Rivers is that O-line in Los Angeles, it was putrid. I mean, bottom of the barrel, and Rivers is someone who needs time to throw. You tell me he's behind that Indy line, which is not arguably a top 3 offensive line in this league. He could have like a late career resurgence, which could also be a buy opportunity for T.Y. Hilton if he gets there. I see where you're going with it. I think Rivers is not 100% cooked, personally. I just think he's limited as an older quarterback, and he was exposed at the end of his career with the Chargers.
And I think for fantasy too, people are, a lot of recency bias. He threw some fucking horrendous picks to end the year here in games that lots of people saw. So I think that depresses his value quite a bit too. I'm with Walker. I think he's a buy, especially if we are thinking he's going to Indy.
Well,
Rivers' YOLO ball was in rare form at the back end of the 2019 season. I mean, he knew he was trying to throw it to his next destination.
Looking like Winston out there.
Where am I going to be quarterback at? Throw this shit clear across the country.
Winston got LASIK, so now he can see. I don't know what he was seeing before, but you take away the picks, that guy is something else. But we'll get to him in a minute.
Take away
there it is again.
The 30.
Burke bait and switch.
I don't want to go to Jameis Winston yet, but I want to talk about Teddy Bridgewater just because we think he's done in New Orleans. Correct? You think they're going to release him?
Yeah, has to be.
Well, it's not released. His contract is up, right?
He's a free agent.
We'll let him walk, whatever you want to say. But
they're bringing Breeze back. He said he's coming back. They'll work something out. They've done it the last 1 or 2 times his contract was up. He wants to be there. They want him there. I don't think he's going anywhere. And Bridgewater was a serviceable stopgap while Breeze was missing some time when he hurt his hand, but I'm not impressed.
I think it's Taysom Hill's show now, Walk. What do you think Bridgewater's gone as well?
Yeah, 100%. Taysom Hill's a restricted free agent, so it's going to be hard for him to get out of New Orleans, to be totally honest with you. Breeze, I can't believe it's going to be more than one more year with him. Whatever the contract says, it might just be moving money around. But I can see Taysom Hill as starting quarterback of the Saints as early as 2021. I can, and I think that would be an exciting, probably about year and a half before that fucking experiment fucking disintegrated. Because one, I think he would be about 30 years old at that point in time. So, that rushing ability would be a little diminished, but there'd be a little day in the sun for Taysom. But yeah, now that Breeze is back, Teddy Bridgewater is going to move on. There's been reports that he's thinking he's getting $30 million a year to go somewhere. I mean, I don't know what XFL team is paying $30 million a year for a starting quarterback, but those teams must be a lot better funded than I thought, because sure as shit an NFL team isn't giving him $30 million.
I just don't think there's that many landing spots to be had right now with the quarterbacks in the draft and with how high those teams are picking with these free agents that are left over.
The quarterbacks in the draft in this massive free agent class, Teddy B is in a bad spot.
It couldn't be worse. I mean, this is literally like an all-time confluence of events between. Listen, we already touched on all the names. Breeze is going back to the Saints. That opportunity goes for Bridgewater, which would have been his. Brady is going to land somewhere, whether it's New England or if it's Tennessee or if it's Las Vegas or wherever the fuck. He's a starting quarterback this year. Dak's definitely going back to the Cowboys. We're already planting rivers with the Colts. If Winston goes back to Tampa, it's probably on a short-term deal. There's no opportunity out there. He's going to sign a backup deal somewhere else. That's all he's going to do. So I don't get where he thinks 30 mil's coming from. I mean, he's not going to get a 30 mil total contract when it's all said and done.
Obviously not 30. What about the Chargers? Even if they draft a rookie, him kind of be the veteran. Well, no, because they already have
Tyrod
the owner. Yeah, I was gonna say the owner already came out and said they like Tyrod and Easton Stick. So I think they're good. We're in their spot of rebuilding because I don't see them.
Teddy's the odd man out.
The sad thing with the Chargers though is that defense is win now. And they have pieces on offense, just their offensive line sucks. They're going to bring in a rookie, and they're going to go into a full rebuild. And their window is just going to fucking slam shut in like 3 years. Yeah. And they're going to have a third-year quarterback looking around going, what the fuck just happened?
Right? They're going to go out and get Josh Rosen. Whatever happened to that dude? But okay, we'll talk about.
That's not. That's not the worst idea.
I mean, there's a lot of rumblings in Tampa that they've already kind of started to move on from Jameis Winston. They plan on addressing their problems in the draft. But if that happens, is there room out there for Jameis since there isn't for Teddy Walk?
Yeah. I mean, if there's a hierarchy of undesignated free agent quarterbacks, Jameis Winston is well above Teddy Bridgewater, in my opinion, just on physical traits alone. I mean, yeah, he has a propensity for interceptions, but guy has a talent for throwing the ball, and I just never thought Teddy Bridgewater was anything special as a passer. Personally, I just think he was a league average type quarterback. Winston confuses me, man, because it sounds like Tampa isn't even considering committing to him. I'm hearing about like 2-year deals, which is pretty much like a tag plus a second-year option type offering to him, where they're only willing to rent him. So they'd probably go down the path of bringing another quarterback in. If he flames out in Tampa, where does he go next? Where's the opportunity exists? Like, Jameis Winston's scary because he is a fantasy gem. And I want him in Tampa for literally as long as humanly possible. Not only for my Chris Godwin shares, but just because it's such a friendly offense for his skill set. It just makes everyone better. If you tell me you put Teddy Bridgewater in Tampa Bay, every offensive skill position player takes a tier down, in my opinion. And not that Teddy's going there, but that's the variance. We're talking fantasy here. That would be just the worst possible fantasy finish.
Yeah, I mean, you had Godwin popping off, Mike Evans doing Mike Evans, and then towards the end of the year when both of those were banged up, Rashard Perryman made a resurgence.
No, he just
not that's just a surgence.
He's a groundhog. He just popped his head out once a year.
I mean, he looked like he knew how to play football. So
out of here.
John is not a fan, but I thought I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah,
But,
I think
Listen,
the key.
we're not moving on to Brashad Perriman yet. He's a free agent. We're talking to him in a minute. Let's wrap a bow on these quarterbacks. We have not talked about Tom Brady yet. We haven't talked about your boy Dak Prescott. There's still some big names here. Let's wrap them up, and then we can shit on Brashad Perriman.
I think the key to all these free agents is what Brady does. I think Brady, wherever Brady lands, he's going to be probably the first to sign, and I think the rest of them all kind of fall like dominoes. Because if Brady doesn't go back to New England's going to be in the market for a quarterback. So one of these other guys is going to probably end up in New England. And then obviously wherever Brady goes, they're not going to be looking for something. I mean, the main teams I've heard is the Raiders and possibly to I'm going to keep calling them the San Diego Chargers on purpose with the Chargers, which I don't see. I mean, he is a California guy, but I still think Brady goes back to New England. But if he doesn't, and that's kind of the rumors floating around the interwebs today, I think that ends up changing the whole landscape for all these guys. And I think they all kind of fall like dominoes because I don't think New England's just going to sit back and cross their fingers that Stidham can take over the job.
Yeah, and then I agree there. But to knock out Dak, I mean, if the Cowboys don't re-sign him, we better.
He's franchised. He's not going anywhere.
Or whatever, we might as well release everyone and start all over because, I mean, how are you going to make it any better? I don't think they're going to move up in the draft to go get one of those top quarterbacks. So, you got to do what you got to do. And
maybe Kellen Moore just suits back up. I mean, that's why McCarthy's keeping him in town. No, I mean, Dak Prescott's 100% a Dallas Cowboy this year. I mean, who knows what the future holds. But to your point, the Tom Brady thing, I like the Chargers initially. And then I thought we were just talking a shitty offensive line with an aging quarterback that got exposed last year. I don't think Tom Brady would want to go there.
I don't think so. I'm just saying that's been one of the teams he's been linked to. But I agree with you. Why the fuck would he ever want to go do that?
Yeah, I mean, other than being from California, and listen, he has a whole lifetime ahead of him to live wherever the fuck he wants when he retires.
Where nobody comes and watches the games either.
Oh, they would come if Brady went there, which is the whole reason. 100%. You make him legitimate. I mean, he would. I mean, for lack of a better word, and that's the whole reason the Raiders are willing to back the truck up for him. They want to open up that shiny black new stadium out in your backyard, to fanfare. Derek Carr's not exciting anybody. Andrew, you want to take a shot at Derek Carr real quick?
I thought you meant David Carr.
There he is.
David Carr.
So I mean, what did they say? 2 years, $60 million full guaranteed is what I heard. The Vegas Raiders were willing to offer him. Like, all right, now that's a floor. What's Tennessee going to offer? What's New England got in their back pocket? I want to see a world where Brady goes to a new team for multiple reasons. Because Belichick say there's the Belichick contingent that said it was all him and Brady was a product of Belichick. Then there's a Brady contingent of you hit on this late round pick, and if you didn't, none of this shit would ever happen. I need to see it play out. For my own edification, I need to see Brady in a different uniform for at least 2 years and see who's more productive, that team or the New England Patriots during that period of time.
And it would be nice to see old Tom beat the Patriots. It would be great.
They should send him to the Jets. I mean, I love Sam Darnold, but that would just be beautiful if he signed with the Jets or, went to Miami.
Or the Bills. I mean, they're pretty promising. I know they like Allen there, but, they got probably the best team out of all of those.
Yeah, they're right there.
Okay.
But listen, before we go on, Jeff Darlington already did report, and Schefter reported that Darlington said this on Get Up on ESPN. I'm now at the point where I would be stunned if Tom Brady went back to New England.
You could be stunned. Don't forget, this is peak disinformation time. Everybody's full of shit now because they're jockeying for draft position. And
he said stunned,
John. The Redskins
stunned.
Brought in all the quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to get people to trade up to get that 2 spot to jump over the Lions to get a quarterback. They're all just full of shit now.
Listen, twofold. One, the Redskins should bring in every single quarterback because although I don't hate Dwayne Haskins, there's better at 2 than Dwayne Haskins. Whatever quarterback doesn't go at 1 is better than Dwayne Haskins at 2. You just can't double down at that point, and it just makes sense to try and maximize that trade value.
Yeah.
Cardinals did it.
Yeah, and listen, it looks like a good move thus far for the Cardinals. So
Right. Okay, let's go to the running back position. I'm scrolling through the list of names. There's probably only 3 or 4 that we're going to talk about: Melvin Gordon, Derrick Henry, maybe Lamar Miller, and Kenyon Drake. But I want to start with Kenyon Drake. Came into Arizona midway through the season. We got
just before the trade deadline, yeah.
Yeah, so, and he looked really good, better than John's David Johnson guy. I think he stays. I think he stays in Arizona, and David Johnson's out. John, I'll go ahead and let you defend your guy.
I mean, he fit in well there. I don't know what the franchise number is for running backs right now, but they have a ton of money. Yeah, I'm sure it's not a little bit, but they've got a ton of money committed to David Johnson. There was the rumor that they were going to cut him and eat whatever, something like 16 million, 18 million dead money, which I don't see happening. But, people talk about it all the time, committing money to these running backs. Are the Cardinals going to be the team that commits, all that money to 2 running backs now? I mean, they have a little flexibility because Kyler Murray's on his rookie deal, but David Johnson is due $10 million this year and just under $8 million next year, and his dead cap number is 16 this year and 13 next year. So, should he go back to Arizona? Yes. Do they have the financial resources to commit that to 2 running backs? I don't know.
Yeah, I'll dive in here. That's interesting, John. Yeah, because that albatross contract to David Johnson is a mitigating factor here, and whether it was the back injury and it was an isolated incident or whatever, just David Johnson just looked super fucking old and slow and rich and didn't really care about really committing to that football field anymore. But every running back in that backfield had kind of moments that they shined. I mean, early in the season, although it was ugly, David Johnson was an RB1 for the first probably 6 weeks of the season, a lot on pass catching volume. And then Chase Edmonds had like a 3-game stretch in there where I think he put an RB1 week up at one point. I think where he dropped 4 touchdowns on the Giants, if I'm not mistaken, when David Johnson was out for like the first carry of the game and then sat the rest of the week. But Kenyon Drake, interestingly enough, and I thought he played great going to Arizona as well. On a per-touch basis, his time at Arizona is actually slightly under his career average. He had decent touchdown total, but 5.5 yards per touch of his career, 5.4 with the Arizona Cardinals. His receiving production was severely down, even though he was better on a per-rush basis. But it's ironic is that he is still the same guy. He wasn't any better. It's just he was never fucking used when he was in Miami, and I blame Adam Gase for that. So, Drake is legit, and he can be, maybe not a bell cow, but an alpha, a 1A in a backfield. I just don't know that it's Arizona. On your point, I don't know that they can afford him, and he's getting paid. This is his last chance to get any cash. I mean, he's in the middle for like, thanks for trading for me, Arizona, and propping up my value. Let me give you a team-friendly deal. No fucking way.
I mean, even let's say low end. Let's say he signs for $25 million. They've got 39 committed to David Johnson. Are they really going to be the team that's got a 25 and a $39 million running back? And Chase Edmonds' deal is up after 2021. They have to probably pay him because he's been a decent, plug and play role player for them.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. Just listen to this. So Kenyon Drake played 8 games, and then David Johnson and Chase Edmonds both played 13. I'm looking at – I was going to compare Drake and Johnson, but now I'm looking at Edmonds and Johnson. Mm-hmm. And Edmonds was only about 40 yards behind him in the rushing department with 30 less carries, but he did beat him in yards after carry. So I think – if you're looking at the stats here, I mean, obviously Kenyon Drake crushed David Johnson's numbers when he did start those games. I think he's the odd man out. I know you're losing all this dead money, so you're just gonna say fuck it and just roll with the guy who's not the best and let the other ones walk. It just doesn't make sense to me as a GM, and that's their fault for paying the guy in the first place, which I didn't think they should have done.
Yeah, I mean, John, I don't think you told the numbers, but yeah, David Johnson is a 16.2 dead cap.
Yeah.
With a 14, just under a 14.2 true cap hit on the season. The Cardinals are right around league average in money. They got about $40 million in cap space right now, and I don't see who they really have as their, kind of free agents are concerned. But yeah, I want him to stay in Arizona because he looked like a good fit in Kingsbury's offense. But Christ, it'd be hard to swallow because he's going to get $8 million a year. I mean, that's conservative. Isn't that what? I mean, what did I want to say Tevin Coleman? Who was the big free agent running back that signed last season other than Le'Veon Bell? Wouldn't someone else sign like a reasonable contract? 6-8 mil a year over like 3 years. I feel like someone else did. Like he's not settling for like a $5 million deal. Like you said, he's in 25 mil over 3 years type thing.
Yeah.
That seems more realistic, and that's going to be 20 mil in cap space, 22 mil on 2 running backs. That hardly seems like the way to rebuild a franchise.
No. And they know that. And I mean, that's why they were talking about cutting Johnson, but they're not. What's the point? You could keep him. You might as well keep him, and they could cut him next year, and it's not as bad of a dead money hit. But
it's cheaper to keep him.
Yeah, they have to.
It's a sad reality. They're saving money by keeping them.
I mean, if they backload, I don't know how it works. With cap money, signing bonus, and this and that, and the yearly average and all that bullshit. But they could sign him to where he's not a huge number this year. And it's kind of backloaded, but with that, he knows what he's looking at. So he would have to get a big chunk of that fully guaranteed. I'm sure he wouldn't care, I'll take $4 million this year, but you're going to pay me $12 million next year. And that's all fully guaranteed. So there's a chance, but yeah, they can't pay him his market value this year with what they're paying David Johnson. It's just crazy.
David Johnson's dead cap is down to $3 million next year.
Yeah,
16.2 to $3 million. He is 100% gone in 2021.
Unless he plays great this year.
Nope, still they're going to trade him, or it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, if they sign Kenyon Drake, yes, he's absolutely gone. He
gone. All right, that's the unfortunate way to kick it off. I mean, other than Kenyon Drake, this list of running backs is literally like a who's who of players that I don't want to speak for everyone that we fucking hate here at the 40. So I don't think it's going to be a glowing report. By and large,
see Wendell Smallwood down there.
Well, yeah, listen, that's
John DeBari favorite,
a sleeper product of the John DeBari Institute of Higher Learning. But let's just jump into Melvin Gordon. We tackled Kenyon Drake. I think Melvin Gordon's probably one of the top 2 other backs to discuss. There's 0% chance that Gordon is back with the Chargers, which for us Eckler lovers is a great thing until the Chargers then bring in probably a rookie running back to take the running downs work, and then Eckler goes back to his same role, and we hope and pray.
Which is still fine.
No, but he just continue to be the most productive on a per touch basis in the history of the entire fucking NFL. Okay, John, it's not going to happen, buddy. We need more touches for Austin Eckler.
Perennial RB2 though, even unlimited touches.
Oh, I don't disagree because he'll get the receiving volume. Like you've indicated in the past, but that's also a product of Phil Rivers. We have not seen Eckler without Rivers.
Also true.
I don't know that anyone throws to a running back more than Philip Rivers did during his time. So
Tom Brady
might be a paradigm shift in the offense. It's very true. So hey, Tom Brady, you got to go to the Chargers. Sorry, we just came full circle on this because we got to keep Austin Eckler afloat. But Melvin Gordon, he's another one that I don't think there's going to be a tremendous market for him. And we're talking about Drake, who was great with his team and didn't turn down $10 million a year in the offseason to sit out. And he's going to be hard pressed to get a deal from the Cardinals that he might be out on the open market. What's Melvin Gordon going to command, and where does he end up?
Send his ass to Detroit. That's what I say.
That'll teach him.
I have no idea.
I mean, I think obviously with Kerryon Johnson's injury issues, still being on the rookie deal, not spending a lot of money at the running back position, I mean, I think that's a great landing spot unless they want to keep Bo Scarborough in the mix. You could
just bring in. You could. If you want a bigger guy to handle, kind of running down work, you don't want to spend any money on him. Get fucking huge ass AJ Dillon for nothing. Probably a day 3 draft pick.
Is that Corey Dillon's son?
No, but I
think it's Corey Dillon's refrigerator.
Yeah. But if you're just looking for a guy to take over those early down workloads and limit Kerryon's workload because you're worried about him getting banged up. Bring A.J. Dillon in the 5th round and let him plod through the middle of the field at 250 pounds like a monster.
How much more can we limit Kerryon Johnson's work? He's limited it himself the first 2 seasons.
I mean, I never liked him, so.
Well,
but yeah, I don't. But going back to the money the Jets spent on maybe on Bell, they haven't seemed happy with him. Whether that's a product of Gase or whatever, 100%. Who knows? But teams are not going to spend money. So Melvin Gordon, I think, made a terrible mistake not taking that Chargers deal they offered. He's not going to come close to that money with another team. I don't know where he goes because, like I said, any team that's looking for a running back, why are you going to pay Melvin Gordon, who scored 0 touchdowns in 1 season already, when you have all the potential in the world of a rookie running back who you could drub into the ground and get rid of on a rookie deal?
Good luck. It just popped in my head, with Chris Carson not being very reliable either. The Seahawks always find a way to finagle people and steal things and work their way around. Kudos to the front office. Maybe Melvin goes up there.
But he's maybe
it's because they're absolutely dreadful at drafting at this point.
they when it comes to the draft and the Seahawks have a 1st or 2nd round pick, don't expect them to ever pick. We'll move down. We'll move down.
Listen, because if they do, it's going to end up being L.J. Collier. Right. And you're like, who? The fuck is that guy?
Fetty or fucking bum.
Let's keep that train going. Listen, while we're on Melvin Gordon, and I heard someone else say the Seahawks. I don't remember who it is, and I think that'd be a sneaky good fit. And they do have a ton of cash available. They're 10th in cap space. Let's just walk down the top 5 teams that have money. You tell me if there's any way Melvin Gordon plays for this team. Number 1, everyone should know this one. The Miami Dolphins have almost $94 million in cap space. Are they willing to pay Melvin Gordon in a rebuild?
Truth be told, let's say that they don't go after running backs in the draft, which is a possibility. If their plan is to grab him or make a big splash on Derrick Henry, they could do it. They have the cap space, and if they want to use their draft picks on other spots to rebuild, that wouldn't be a shocker.
Burke, you agree?
I think they have bigger problems. They need to shore up the line.
Yeah, I don't see it, and it doesn't make any sense. But sure, it would be a drop in the bucket, for them, and maybe make them a little more competitive. Number 2 is the Colts, who we already said Phil Rivers is going to Indianapolis. Why don't we just, when we get a discount, do a price line, 2 seats for the price of 1 from Los Angeles and fly both those fuckers right to the Midwest. Pop them in Indy, because Marlon Mack's not the answer. They already pretty much said they're talking about extended him in his contract year. They got $86 million. I don't think it's a Ballard move, but if you get Phil Rivers, you're saying we're trying to win now. And if you get Phil Rivers and saying we're trying to win now, you could do worse than Melvin Gordon.
But here's the other thing. With the rookie class coming in, plus looking at this free agent list, just down a few names, why pay Melvin Gordon when you can get Derrick Henry? Right? I mean, wouldn't you rather have Derrick Henry?
Well, I can tell you why, because Derrick Henry, like a fucking idiot, has already come out and said that Zeke's contract is his floor. That's why. That guy already crossed himself off a number of lists, and he's going to end up back with the Titans on a team-friendly deal. I don't know if I can tell you that much, because no one is paying, a 6'3", 240-pound, I'm pretty sure about to be 25-year-old running back.
You said
barely catches passes.
Well, you said the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins would make that move over Melvin Gordon. I mean, I would pay a few extra to have Derrick Henry over Melvin Gordon. That's how much I hate Melvin Peg Leg.
We're totally biased here.
We do hate chicken sticks, but
yes.
We'll just go both at the same time then. Since we already brought the Derrick Henry conversation around. Number 3 in available cap are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at $85 million. They have a ton of money. I think it's all contingent upon is Winston the quarterback next year, because if you bring a rookie or anyone else in, that changes the whole dynamic. But Melvin Gordon or Derrick Henry in a Bruce Arians offense?
Bruce Arians sucks, first of all. Second of all,
I'm not arguing.
I think
man by and large, but
I think Gordon's a better fit for Arians' offense. So I would not want to see Derrick Henry for fantasy purposes land in Tampa just because of the way that guy runs his offense. So I would hope that Gordon would go there.
See, I wouldn't want Gordon there because I think Gordon could be successful. And
True.
that would just ruin the whole stick we have going on here at the 40.
But we are a fantasy show, so I think for fantasy purposes, I think Gordon's a better play there. Henry needs volume.
I don't disagree with you. Number 4, the Buffalo Bills, who currently Frank Gore is residing on that free agent list as well, and he will forever, apparently, until he signs 1-year deals until he's 75 years old and continues to churn out 500-yard seasons. But I can see, I know we were on Gordon, but we pivoted. Imagine Derrick Henry and Devin Singletary.
Pretty
build
awesome.
backfield and what they want to do.
That's pretty awesome.
I like that.
That would be sneaky. That would be sneaky. And listen, Josh Allen ain't thrown to the running back, so we wouldn't have to worry about Derrick Henry doing anything different than he was doing before and just barreling over people in frigid northern New York weather.
How tall is Derrick Henry? He said 6'5"?
I said 6'4".
Yeah,
6'4".
6'5".
His arms extended. It'd be hard to overthrow him.
Yeah,
I like where you went there. If anyone can do it, Josh Allen.
It's our boy Josh Allen.
That would be a 3-headed monster right there. Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, and
I don't believe they'll do it, but that'd be spicy. It would kill Devin Singletary, unfortunately, because he wasn't getting goal line work before. Because Josh Allen was stealing it. It might actually hurt Derrick Henry a little bit too, because Josh Allen's like, I'm just gonna keep this one, buddy. All right, you just leave block for me.
I like that one. That was a good one.
All right, it's a sneaky one. Then 5, which is totally irrelevant, is the Dallas Cowboys, who I did not know that they have all this money because they haven't allotted $30 million to Dak and another
We don't have
$15 million to Amari Cooper, and then are you going to pay Brian Jones? You got about $7 in the bank right now, Jared.
That's a fake. That's a fake salary cap right there because, like you said, we got guys that aren't going to get signed. Anthony Brown, Byron Jones, Crawford. I mean, just besides the top names there, that you already mentioned, Cooper and Dak. I mean, we got our whole team's a fucking free agent at this point. So
there's only one team that has less signed players than the 50 that the Cowboys have, and it's 49 by the Vikings under contract, which is what's counting against this cap. That's
fucking crazy, dude.
All right,
crazy.
so Melvin Gordon. Who knows? Pick it. Where's he end up? Let's do it. Throw a dart.
Miami.
Only because you threw it out, so I'll stay in Florida. I'll go Tampa Bay.
Miami for me.
I'm going with the Colts. I am literally hitching my wagon to Chargers Midwest.
Chargers East.
And they're going big win now.
Real quick. So before we get off running backs and go to wide receivers, so we talked about the Arizona situation first. That was probably one of the more interesting ones with Kenyon Drake and David Johnson. But also Lamar, who won't die, Miller, and Carlos Hyde. And I think the free agent you were talking about that signed a little contract was Duke Johnson, who went to Houston as well. So 2 of those 3 are free agents, being Hyde and Lamar Miller. I think they're kind of stopgaps. I wouldn't say you could trust them. I don't know what else to call them at this point. Do you think? I think they're both cooked.
I can tell you what to call them. Trash. Trash. Carlos Hyde, he exceeded expectations last year.
1,000-yard rusher, man.
But that was literally only because I had 0 expectations of Carlos Hyde. So if he was active on game day, he exceeded expectation for me, and he fell into that production that was not supposed to be his production. It was supposed to be any other running back's production. Sneaky guy who's still on this list that I think would be a perfect complement to Duke Johnson down in Houston would be Jordan Howard.
Yeah.
Younger Carlos Hyde. That's exactly what he is. He's a younger Carlos Hyde.
He's a Texans plug-and-play type of guy. That's a good call.
So he's a sneaky one that I would think his value probably going to be lower. He literally got filtered out of the offense, rightfully so, in Philadelphia for Miles Sanders, who was a far superior player. But he's still only 25. He's going to turn 26 in November. He's been productive, when given volume. He can have another 3 years of 1,000 yards, 6 touchdown type production. He can catch the ball. He's just not good at it, but he'll get you 20 catches in a season. He's a guy that I think makes sense to Houston. And 2, I would probably say you might want to go out and put some feelers on because you could probably get him for like a late second, early third round pick.
Oh, I would
I
guess
would say
less
worse.
than that.
Yeah. So you tell me late third, early fourth. He's better than anyone you're drafting at that point, just from a value perspective. So
That's a good point. But
go find you a Jordan Howard.
I mean, you got a cheaper version of that. I mean, maybe Jordan Howard is better. I almost spout off that the mouth shit. But DeAndre Washington, he's a free agent. So
All right, the rest of this list is trash.
it is. Let's go to wide
Get it out of
receivers.
here.
Listen, not total trash. I agree with you. DeAndre Washington's better than people want to believe.
No, I like him.
Whenever he's got the ball, but he's never going to get an opportunity. Just never going to get it. He should have had it last year, and then my boy Josh Jacobs came in and ate his lunch.
Hey, so with the NFL, starting to trend towards lifting all these marijuana suspensions, our boy Josh Gordon's a free agent. Is he coming back?
No.
Listen,
man.
I just took him in a dispersal draft, which was literally because the names around him weren't in the NFL either when I was picking. So I'm like, why not take the guy that
Take
at least
the upside.
has something in the NFL? So I own a Josh Gordon share in a startup. I actually sadly own him probably in a few places where the 10 windows I had to sell him, I never cashed those tickets. So shame on me.
And now
But
watch it pay off, dude.
who knows? Josh Gordon wasn't just a marijuana. That dude had an alcohol problem. I'm pretty sure as well. So
Everything, codeine,
yeah,
alcohol, weed.
they're-
He's sipping on some sister.
they're just checking one of his boxes right now. So I mean, get your life straight, Josh. But I think his star is burnt out, is flamed fast
a guy
in the NFL.
Yeah, guys who isn't, that I think is probably the most intriguing receiver on this list is Robbie Anderson. Produced with Sam Darnold in New York, went on the field. He stopped telling cops that they
threatening their wives.
Yeah, he's screwing their wives. But I think he wants quite a bit of money. John, lead off with this guy. What your expectations are?
Yeah, I mean, I've liked him periodically. I have him in a few spots. As far as landing spots for free agency, I mean, who needs wide receivers? Looking at a list here, ironically, the Jets, who aren't going to re-sign him, but the Colts, they say, are looking for wide receivers. Jacksonville, Denver. There's not Buffalo, if you want to stay within the division. The Patriots, who without Brady, I don't know how attractive that is. The Saints. So there's a couple spots that could be fantasy relevant. Green Bay is looking for a number 2 next to Adams. If he signed in Green Bay, that would be pretty fantastic probably for him and for Aaron Rodgers. So there's a few spots that he could land. I just don't, at this point in the year, who the hell knows where we're going to go? And like we had mentioned with the running backs, this wide receiver class is fucking stacked. So again, if you really like one of these rookie wide receivers, and they're going to fall because there's so many of them, you could get one of these really good rookies probably in the end of day 2 of the draft. Why not get them for 4 years on the cheap than pay Robbie Anderson whatever he wants? So hopefully he lands in a good spot. He has, low end wide receiver 1 upside for fantasy if he's in a good spot. But I just don't know why a team who is needy at wide receiver would spend the money on him when you can get 2 of these rookies who are going to fall because there's just so much depth this year.
Listen, salient points all around, especially with the depth of the rookie class, but you always need wide receiver. And the resident Eagles fan in the room
my God.
can speak to it better than anyone else
Yeah.
about what a lack of quality wide receivers can do to an offense. And Robbie Anderson, the Temple University Owl product from Fair Lawn, New Jersey, would fit nicely in a different shade of green. I can tell you that much. And I know for a fact the Eagles tried to trade for him, I believe, last year before the deadline and couldn't get a deal done. If not, it was the year prior. But they've made attempts to secure Robbie Anderson's services in the past. And it's a need, and they have some cash, and how he's always creative with moving it around. I think the ideal landing spot for Robbie Anderson is Philadelphia, because he would plug in as that field stretcher they have wanted and needed for so long without the injury, the injury-riddled nature when they were trying to bring in Torrey Smith, Mike Wallace, Deshaun Jackson at the end of his career. Robbie Anderson is that at 26 years old, entering the prime of his career with Carson Wentz, that dude would skyrocket in dynasty rankings if he ended up in Philadelphia. And I think it's realistic, to be totally honest with you, because I can't see them taking a receiver in the first at 21. There's just too many holes in their defense. Maybe not even in the second. I think they should, but if you can get a Robbie Anderson, who's proven productive in a role that we are severely lacking in, I think that is, biases aside, a perfect landing spot for him. Need meets opportunity in Philadelphia.
I think you'll be able to get somebody in the draft even later. Like you're saying, I don't know if they're going to spend it in the second. Think about last year. People like that wide receiver class last year too. And guys Metcalf was the last pick of round 2. So these guys are going to fall. I mean, for fantasy, for a lot of people that, run their little algorithms and run their models, they're like, draft capital is a big thing. Last year fucked it up, and I think this year is going to screw it up too, because unless there's a run on them early and people are like, oh shit, these guys are flying off the board, which we haven't typically seen, they're all going to play chicken and wait. And a lot of these guys that people are like, oh, this guy's a lock, they're going to fall into later in round 2 than you think, into round 3, and there's going to be a lot of good NFL wide receivers going on day 3 of the draft this year.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. But and how dare you bring up DK Metcalf, John? Because it's far too soon as an Eagles fan and staring at JJ Arcega-Whiteside's stupid face, and he should have looked like DK Metcalf from week 1. Imagine a DK Metcalf, Robbie Anderson wide receiver room. Getting a little excited over here, but alas, it'll never happen. Because how he fucked it up and went with a possession receiver from Stanford because he thought he was smart. But that aside, Mel Kiper said 25 wide receivers are going by round 3 in this draft. That's his prediction. I think that's absolutely ludicrous.
That's
but
insane.
This is the NFL we're in now. 3 and 4 wide receiver sets are all the rage. So
what's the average each draft? It's something like 32, right? 32 total wide receivers get taken. So he's saying just about 80% of that in day 2. He's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I don't buy it either. I would say less than 20 would be my assumption. So I agree. There'll be some guys there, but you got to uncover some gems to hit on those later round guys. I mean, there's as many misses as hits there. So I don't disagree with you that this is a bad draft to pay wide receivers in free agency, but
right. And a guy that wants out that probably doesn't have a large market, but I think it's safe to say he's probably going to be a Hall of Famer, AJ Green. I just don't see the market out there for him. Aging, injury, prone, I guess. I hate using that term, but that's what the guy is at this point with this. I mean, he's got a case of the floppy feet, so...
He's Captain Floppy Feet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the unfortunate it was designated as such by none other than Andrew Burke on the 40, and I agree. It's unfortunate. I mean, yeah, he was trending towards a surefire Hall of Famer, and he's pretty much lost the better part of the last 3 years.
Yeah.
To injury. He's missed significant time each year, including the entire season last year, which I think at a certain point it was just a ploy. Like, I'm not playing because you haven't extended me, so I'm not re-injuring my foot and missing out on this last payday. He was healthy enough to play football last year by this non-medical professional over here. He was calling the Bengals bluff. Like, yeah, you're just going to pay me out the end of this contract and then, hopefully let me go. But I've heard that they're intending to tag him.
Yep.
Which makes sense for the Bengals because you can't let that walk out the door. He doesn't want to be there, tag and trade. But you got to get something better than compensatory 3rd-round pick. I think is the best you can get if he signs a decent deal elsewhere. Like, you got to get more for AJ Green than that. So if they draft Burrow like everyone expects, and they should, I think AJ Green's tune might change a little bit.
I think so too. I was just gonna say that. It kind of depends on who they pick there, and it maybe it's some off-season workouts, and then he goes from there. I mean, I could see if they didn't draft a quarterback or have this pick, I could see him pulling the old, Melvin and just holding out. I wouldn't fucking play, that's for sure, if you're bringing in Ryan Finley or whoever the next guy up is.
Yeah, dude's out there throwing medicine balls all day long, trying to end careers. Like, yeah, AJ Green's making business decisions at this point because he doesn't have to play football.
Who does it? So, a guy that's probably not going to be too fantasy productive, but I love that's on this list is Rashad Higgins, man. If he didn't get banged up last year, he started the year off pretty well for the Browns. Baker sucked. I just think Freddie Kitchens' offense sucked. But I like Rashad Higgins, big body. I think he's just underrated as an asset.
He's had flashes. I mean, obviously it's going to be very landing spot dependent. But, yeah, if he goes to a good team with an established passing game and a good quarterback, he has popped on occasion. We've never seen him do it consistently week in, week out. But the upside is there. And even, forget the landing spot. I still like him in best ball leagues.
Yeah, what I'm saying, I mean, like dynasty-wise, would you feel more comfortable giving a fourth-round pickup and taking Rashad Higgins for it? I would say yes.
I'm scared now because I don't know where he's going. If I knew where he was landing, obviously that makes a big difference.
Walk?
I'm taking a fourth-round pick. But that's me. I like Higgins. I just don't ever think he's even going to be a 2 on a team. He's always going to be a 3-4. So it's going to be he's going to John's point, he's going to flash when the opportunity presents itself. When an injury, he steps in for a 2-game stretch and has one serviceable game. But he's not a top. He's probably best as a wide receiver 4 on a team, in my opinion. There's some other names here I would much rather have over him, and we had touched on Brashad Perriman before that. I'll take NFL and fantasy Brashad Perriman over Higgins. DeMarcus Robinson is a free agent as well from the Chiefs. I'd rather have him over Higgins. If you tell me a fourth-round pick gets DeMarcus Robinson, I'm interested. And then lesser talent in Geronimo Allison, who I still burn a candle for. He deserves
what a shithead
I'm
year.
done.
I thought he had nothing but opportunity last year. And
I'm off.
They all had nothing but opportunity. No one did anything with it. None of
them. What a shit show that was, man.
Remember Marquez Valdez-Scantling was like, oh, fuck, he's so fast. Remember what he did his first year? Well, this is inevitable. He didn't do shit either. It was Alan fucking Lazard who came out of nowhere and was like, yeah, I'll just be a big guy you can throw it to, and I'll catch it a couple times. Like,
I mean, even St. Brown had his opportunities. That's how bad shit got.
They're addressing the position, whether it's in free agency or the draft. Something is shaking out there at wide receiver because it is.
Kamon Moore's just sitting there shining these guys fucking in a Green Bay fucking car wash with Jeff Janis. Like, oh, what could have been if I could have just hung around a little longer.
Not to get off the wide receivers, but to just trash Green Bay a little more. I don't know if you guys saw the quote from Matt LaFleur saying that they want to. They asked them if they were happy with what Aaron Jones did and if he earned him more work. And LaFleur actually said what they want to do is bring in a third back to spread the touches out a little more. So if you hated Mike McCarthy, save a little of that rage to place it on Matt LaFleur pretty soon here.
Yeah, I disregard any negative publicity that Aaron Jones gets at this point in time. It's totally erroneous. We can only control what we can control here at the 40. And it's the fact that he's fucking amazing, and we were absolutely right. And Mike McCarthy and Matt LaFleur are total assholes.
Yeah.
All right, no other receivers to talk about. They're all junk.
Real quick, we don't have to dive into it. Do we think Emmanuel resigns with the 49ers? I do. I think
they said they want him back.
Yeah, nope. I don't think that's a question. So
listen,
Walker's out.
Yeah, he better go cheap. I mean, listen, their window's there. He wants to win another title. Another? Did he get one in Denver?
He did get one.
Yeah, so we make that up. I thought so.
He even scored, I think.
I believe so. He should have scored in the Super Bowl too. Stupid Jimmy G didn't fucking airmail that ball to him or he beat those defenders on a beautiful move. Would have won me a ton of cash in my fantasy playoff. But I'm not bitter about that at all. I'm okay with it.
Let it go. Let it go.
He'll work there, but he's not fantasy relevant there.
Got it. All right. Walker's favorite position, the tight ends.
It's like a who's fucking who of my guys here too. Free agents.
It is. There's some interesting names. Let's just start with a guy that I've kind of grown to love because of Walker, and then everyone always hating on him is Eric Ebron. He did his thing for a while in Indy. Now he's a free agent. They already said they're done with him. So, possible landing spots. We don't have any money, but I'd like to see him in Dallas.
Not opposed, and it
New
did Chris Ballard eat an extra dinner before he took that massive dump on Ebron in letting him go? Because that was just uncalled for. You know what I mean? It's like someone tears a hammy and you just walk up and punch him in the back of the head. Like, he's really piling on at this point. It's okay that you don't like him. He just had a historic season for you a year prior, but yeah, fuck Eric Ebron. Okay,
Right.
shot. You lost me a little bit on that one, Chris, but. I'll let you go. You've made good moves otherwise. Ebron needs to go somewhere where he's not asked to be a fucking tight end. Let's just keep it simple. He is a big slot wide receiver. Like, let's use him appropriately. He's going to have his fair share of drops. He's also going to make highlight reel catches. From fantasy, we'll accept all that. And just about every team in the NFL could use Eric Ebron.
Jacksonville.
So, every team. But why the Patriots? Humongous need for him, but just run down the list of it doesn't have to be that even alpha tight end. Like, I don't know what type of money he's trying to
Green
make.
Bay.
And Hunter Henry just left the Chargers. They have a huge hole at tight end. He could walk right in there as their pass catching tight end. You just said Dallas. They don't have the money, but they have a huge need. I like Blake Jarwin a ton, and I think he's going to break out this year. I think he's an RFA, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and then we can't afford him though, because I think this might be his last year of his deal, his rookie.
Yeah,
deal.
I think he's a restricted free agent unless his last year was rookie deal. But it'll be a nice year for him this year, right before he hits that free agent market next year when we talk about him. But nonetheless, I mean, Eric Ebron just perennially disrespected. Like, that's all I can say.
That's why I like him now.
I mean, even though he has his big season, he gets, they lose Andrew Luck. Any tight end is going to fall off the fucking map when Andrew Luck just up and says, guys, I'm good. I got a ton of fucking money and I'm tired of getting crushed by giant human beings. And I just want to be able to pick my kids up in 5 years.
He's not
I get
done.
that. I got him on a couple dynasty teams, so I'm not going to, I'm not giving up hope on that one yet. But outside of that, I mean, what did people expect from this guy? Just because of where he was drafted by Detroit and then they totally abused his abilities, for 4 years before they shipped him out of town. I think this might be a buy low window for Ebron because he had the letdown year everyone expected, and now he's changing teams, and people are trying to get out from under him, to be totally honest with you. And I think he lands in the right spot, immediate top 12 tight end again next year and probably for the next 2 to 3 years, which is all we're really talking about here in Dynasty.
Isn't John's Bears looking for a tight end?
Christ, they need everything from a wide receiver 2 down.
Yeah,
I mean, to be honest, he would be great in Chicago. I mean, save for Mitch Trubisky, but you can't fix that right now, or maybe you can. But yeah, that would not be a bad landing spot at all. I mean, shit, you were talking about Green Bay retooling their pass catchers. Yeah. Jimmy Graham ain't the answer anymore. I like Christ, why is it Jay Sternberger? But he's going to be a second-year guy.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers isn't ready to trot him out as his primary pass catcher. In his twilight. Tell me, Eric Ebron goes to Green Bay, even though Green Bay kills tight ends. I'm still buying.
Not me. I'm out.
Buying.
All right, John, are you in on Hunter Henry moving somewhere else, and if so, where?
No, I'll stick with Walker's theme from earlier. Why doesn't Hunter Henry follow Melvin Gordon and Phillip Rivers to Indy? There you go.
Let's go.
Plug and play. I'm just going
to
ride Walker's narrative off to Indy with him.
I could see it. That's funny.
I'm there.
That. Yeah. Okay.
Because they have money, and Jack Doyle ain't the fucking answer. All right. Let's just stop that just because he outlasted Eric Ebron. Hunter Henry works everywhere, except he's going to want a ton of money.
That's a guy where I don't – yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I was just going to say that's a guy where I don't see his off-season price increasing. Well, I see it increasing depending on the landing spot, but I don't see it decreasing even with this, we're waiting to see where he's going to go. I think we know what Hunter Henry can do, win on the field. So I don't think there's going to be a buy low window, but it's going to be cheapest right now than until we see where he lands.
I mean, I don't know why the Chargers are letting him walk. I mean, I don't know what the tag is, but it looks like they have cap, and they're not going to be paying a quarterback likely. They're not paying a running back likely. Why aren't you bringing a young talent like Hunter Henry back? Even if you're kind of in a slight rebuild, that seems like poor math, in my opinion. But maybe someone else is just willing to pay. Or
the Chargers are not,
they're not known for
being
smart
team. Yeah,
forward-thinking football minds. I agree, but he's a no-brainer. I know he's been hurt too, but man, he is a difference maker on the field. I mean,
He
a
is.
true difference maker on the field. But listen, I love Eric Ebron, and Hunter Henry's running laps around Eric Ebron on a bad day. So whoever lands him, yeah, I mean, he's going to be their plug-and-play tight end one in their offense. He's going to be a focal point. Like, I agree with you, Andrew. Like, his value is not going to diminish just because he doesn't have late career Phillip Rivers throwing on the ball anymore.
Not a free agent, but did move, and I'm trying to remember where. Your boy Demetrius Harris, where did he go?
Well, he was released by the Browns, did he?
And he got picked up. I'm trying to remember.
Bears? Did he go to the Bears?
That's who it is, I think. I think he went to the Bears. All right. I was hoping one of you guys knew not offhand because it just popped in.
I saw that the Browns released him. I didn't know he got claimed already. You know I like me some Demetrius Harris. Yep, Bears reportedly signed Demetrius Harris, reunited with Matt Nagy, which we were just talking about how the Bears, they can't trust Shaheen, and Trey Burton was never meant to be what the Bears thought he was going to be by paying him way too much money. And then they got, Jesper Horstad and some other random guy who are catching footballs late in the season. This might actually be Demetrius Harris season.
I think I traded you a late first for Trey Burton in a league.
That's entirely likely. I was more than happy to do so.
Austin,
and Demetrius Harris is only 28 years old, so still got a few years left. So you're right, not a free agent. But listen, this is a Dynasty podcast. If you can go get you a Demetrius Harris cheap, you could do worse.
Yeah.
What about the last one we mentioned before we get out of here? My boy Austin Hooper. They're actually pretty
think he stays.
surprised.
No,
I'm shocked Atlanta's going to let him walk. They usually kind of lock their guys up, but I think they just have too much money committed to Julio and Matt Ryan. Ridley's contract's going to be up in 2 more years. So they really have put themselves kind of a bad cap spot. So I don't think they have the money to spend long term.
Has anyone gotten more free passes than Thomas Dimitroff at this point in time? This dude, I don't get it. Like, I don't think they draft particularly well. I think they pay people anytime they stamp their feet or make a comment in public. And he's just been trying to hold the ship together since that failed Super Bowl run where the doors fell off against the Patriots a few years back. But you're right, John. They got 4 under $5 million currently in cap right now. They are, They are team 30. $4.5 million in cap right now with only 52 players signed. And to your point, the top 2 players that are under contract for them in 2020 are Matt Ryan, who's counting 24 mil against the cap, and none other than Julio Jones at almost $20.5 million in cap at this point in time.
And they're letting Freeman walk or cutting him. So,
which is fine because they're going to bring in a running back and we're all going to drool over the opportunity. Julio Jones is 31 years old and they just signed him through his age 34 season. And he's potential out as early as 2023. So they're tied to this dude for 3 more years. And I use that term lightly because Julio is amazing, but he's a big receiver that I just don't see aging particularly well. That this is going to be a David Johnson type contract with Julio Jones, in my opinion. I just think it's going to be an albatross. He's a $59 million dead cap this year. $59 million for a wide receiver in dead. 38 next year, 15.5 in 2022. They can't get out from under him until 2023 and still be a $7.75 mil dead cap.
Well, they're picking 16th, and
good luck,
with the recent trends of you got the guy from Detroit last year. You had Ingram, OJ Howard. Tight ends in the first round aren't uncommon anymore. But like you said, they need a running back. So at 16, you're for sure saying they go running back there?
No, I think second or third round they can get a quality back. I mean, to John's point of wide receiver depth, there's decent running back depth too. And I still don't understand committing first round capital to a running back other than that potential 50-year option. But I think the second or third round are the sweet spot of drafting running backs in the NFL because 4 years is about the shelf life, and that's how you're going to control them, and they're dirt fucking cheap.
So do you think they could go tight end there? In
the first?
Yeah, at 16?
There's no one worth drafting at 16. in this draft. If you've listened to a recent Fantasy 40 podcast where we did the pre-combine rankings and went over tight ends, the lead-in was this class fucking sucks. I think that was spot on. And boy, it does suck. I mean, there's a few scattered guys, but no, there's not a first-round talent in this class.
All right.
If Hooper moves on, I actually, I like Jaden Graham as the kind of tight end. I snatched him up late in a couple places last year. I only had 9 receptions, but averaged 16.6, got in the end zone once. And Hooper was part of that offense. If he gets half of that production, you're looking at 35-ish receptions, 400-ish yards, and 3 touchdowns, which for a guy you're going to get for free just to plug in on a bye week, Graham is a pretty decent plug and play, I think, for next year.
I was going to drop his name as well. I grabbed him in a few spots as well, and he is dirt cheap. He's not even making $600,000 next year.
Yep.
So that fits pretty nicely into a spreadsheet if you're trying to cut costs.
Because there's long snappers getting
more, twice as much as that, 3 times as much as that. Hooper's. I'm not a Hooper guy. I wouldn't pay him either. If he's trying to get anything near Hunter Henry money, good luck. I think he's gonna fall on deaf ears if he thinks he's getting 10 or 11 million a year. I just think he's a above replacement level tight end in my opinion. I think Matt Ryan clearly has a history of peppering tight ends with targets. So he would do well to stay in Atlanta from a fantasy perspective, but I think Atlanta knows he's not worth what he's asking personally.
Right.
And he's going to have to go find it elsewhere. And I think if you can cash out on Hooper when he signs somewhere else, I probably would do it personally.
Well, good. Thanks for the advice. I'm going to need to do that very soon. Last guy who kind of hurt the Cowboys more than helped, which was expected, is Jason Witten. Dropped a lot of passes last year. The only landing spot I could see him going is where everyone else thinks is with his old buddy Jason Garrett. So nothing really needed to talk about that. Hopefully we don't re-sign him when he just retires and he can go out a Cowboy. But that's about it, man, for the tight end position. Besides the Seahawks signing Greg Olsen, anybody want to talk about that and the effects of Will Dissly?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we touched on Witten. He just needs to retire and call it a career because don't go to the Giants and then ruin Ingram for a season. Although I hate Ingram, you just don't need to take a chunk out of one of the top tight ends. He's clearly not coming back to Dallas, nor should he. That ship is sailed. Let Jarwin go. The Olsen side, not only does it hurt Dissly at least for a year, it hurts Jake Hollister too, who I think had a pretty good finish to the season with them, and now there's a ton of puff pieces that they like him there too. It's just going to be a muddy season. In Seattle as far as the tight ends are concerned, but I think Olsen is clearly the one to own in the short term. We'll have to wait and see what those 2 other guys do.
John, you want to weigh in on your Seahawks?
I like the signing. I mean, when they've had a viable tight end, they have used them. Kind of like Walker said, that there's a lot of mouths to feed now at the position. So they are a run-heavy team, but now with a couple different weapons, who knows what they're going to do in the draft this year also. I think the person to buy is Russell Wilson, but I don't outside of best ball, it's going to be hard to trust any of those tight ends.
Where are we buying Russell Wilson, in a super flex?
And 1 QB.
No. I think his price is too high for a 1 QB, and it's just not worth it to me. There's always the buy Russell Wilson narrative. I put a Twitter poll out of which receiver do you want, DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett, and fucking a bunch of people wrote buy Russell Wilson. I'm like, not the post. First off, don't do that. Stick to the script, select the button, then comment accordingly. But one quarterback league, I mean, it's just not appealing enough for me. I know he's productive. He's gonna find his way to being a QB1 for the next 5 to 7 seasons, but I don't think you got to pay for that, and I don't think you're getting him cheap either.
You put Russell Wilson with some weapons around him, that could have been a dynasty.
Well, he's got the weapons. He's got dog shit play calling.
He has Metcalf and Lockett now with Greg Olsen, who, like it or not, Greg Olsen's going to have 700 yards and 7 touchdowns. Oh, sure. They misused him drastically. They wanted to be a run-based team with one of the all-time best quarterbacks. So, who are we to judge? But they've opened it up and trusted him more, rightfully so. In the
That's
last
the only reason
couple
they're
years.
winning. Yeah,
But it's also now Wilson's not running anymore either, which is a concern for me. Is he's elusive, but he's not stat padding anymore as far as one of those like cheat code quarterbacks are concerned. He is just otherworldly effective in a touchdown from a touchdown rate perspective because his attempts aren't where they should be for the touchdowns and the yards that he amasses in a season. So kudos to him.
God damn, who would have thought bringing up the Seahawks to close out the show? But let's go ahead and close things up. Get my cherry popped. It's been a few months, and appreciate you guys having me back. I missed you, and it was good times, breaking down these free agents and speculating on landing spots. I'm sure we got them all 100% correct. Right, Walt?
Oh, listen, we spot on as usual, flawless as we always are at the 40. But on the way out the door, John brought up Jay Gruden recently and going to the Jaguars. And there is a running back on the free agent market that I think is of particular interest and probably break John's heart on the way out the door. So I'd be remiss if I didn't bring it up. But Chris Thompson is a free agent. I think there's probably an 88% chance that Chris Thompson is wearing that Jaguars teal in 2020 and crushing your boy Leonard Fournette's 100 target dreams. What's that, John?
I think you're a bad person and you're hurtful and you're trying to make it a bad thing. What's Thompson? Thompson's got to be 30-something now, right?
That doesn't matter. He just catch 80
Yeah,
passes.
I mean, it depends.
Armstead's still there. I know he got injured, but
and we had mentioned on the last one, if Edwards Halar falls there in the draft, that could be a good spot for him to kind of come and plug that Jay Gruden receiving back role. But I mean, it wouldn't be crazy. Obviously, he's familiar with the coach.
You want to hear something funny? The Chris Thompson link on NFL.com they were using for free agents takes me to none other than Chris Thompson, the 25-year-old wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers, who I think was drafted by the Houston Texans, if I'm not mistaken. He's a 2-year pro out of Florida. So I can't even tell you how old Chris Thompson is at present.
We'll leave it there. We'll all speculate on Chris Thompson's age and how many times he's been injured. But, yeah, that was a good one. Go ahead.
Under 88% that he ends up a Jacksonville Jaguar too. That's
29.
That's going to be my next Twitter poll.
29.
He's 30 in October.
Perfect age to just ruin the peak years of Leonard Fournette's career.
You're correct.
That sounds about right. Good point.
We call that the wheelhouse.
Okay, well, on the next show, we'll have a lot more to dive into. The combine will be done, and we can gawk over the guys running the 40s in their underwear, how high they can jump in their massive 3-cone, 4-cone, 17-cone scores, DK Metcalf times, and whatnot. I wonder if Rich Eisen...
Maintain perspective, people.
Yeah, I mean... This is the time. I say that every year. Can't wait. We're almost to that point where I get to see all the videos on Twitter of people making one-handed catches on nobody, and people are moving them up their draft board. So
listen, I dominate for a say or two.
Right?
Still, 40 years old. Air can't cover me.
So we'll shut it down there. Like I said, it's a pleasure to be back. For myself, Andrew Burke, John Dabari, and Matt Walker, we're the Fantasy 40, and we're signing off.